Hello.
Welcome. Here
Here
we
we
are.
are.
Welcome to the Teachers Pep Rally, everyone. If you missed our last episode, we spoke with high school principal Chris Shear about redefining school, pathways, purpose, and preparing for the future. Please go back and check it out on your favorite audio platform or by visiting our YouTube channel. Please like, share it, and review it. Our guest tonight is a fellow Disney-loving teacher.
Oh,
She teaches the all-important pre-kindergartners and has been in education for 6 years. She has come to talk to us about the pedagogy of early childhood education and the importance of play. Please welcome fellow educator Natalie Legg.
yay!
Yay,
So-
Natalie!
So
We're
6 years in her field counts as, that's times 3 everywhere else. So she's
Is
been
it like
teaching
dog
6 years.
years?
It is.
Yes.
She's a vet by now. She's set.
So tell us, how's your school year going, Natalie?
It's been going okay. Florida was recently hit by 2 hurricanes.
Yes.
So I myself was affected by Hurricane Milton. I lost my house. So we're, trying to rebuild from that. But overall, it hasn't been a bad year. And my students are so great. They're so funny. And you really can see their personalities start to shine as the routine sets in. So it's been a great year so far.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, but I'm also so sorry to hear about your home, and we will lift up your community and even maybe when we post this, we'll put out that information again about, where you can donate to help communities like yours as they continue to keep rebuilding. So thanks for reminding us of that for sure.
So right off the bat, juggling work while you're essentially rebuilding your life in many ways, that's a lot. So holy cow. Much respect, much love to you on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, but I'm sure that your students have dealt with that as well, right?
Yes.
You're being there for them. That's a lot.
That is a lot. So pre-kindergarten, how many how many little ones do you have in your class?
26. I have 26 students.
Wow, 20.
That is a large number of little children. Yes.
42 in a regular classroom.
Yeah, that is a lot. Well, we're excited to have you on here because we're going to kind of deep dive into a bunch of stuff. But when we had kind of reached out to you to be on here, you right away said you wanted to talk about early childhood development, but most importantly, the idea of or the importance of play. So why do you think play is such a vital part of early childhood education?
Well, play is how children see the world. It's how they experience things in a way that their bodies and minds and even their hearts can really wrap around it. And when you remove play from early childhood, you're left with many adults. And many adults are not what children are. They can't regulate their emotions like many adults. They can't verbalize their feelings. And play is how they do that. Absolutely, it is.
So it's really important. It sounds like it's a vital part of their development, right? Like it's not just that it's fun or something that's important for them to do at the day. Like this is actually something they need to be doing to help them develop all the skills and socializations and probably get out the wiggles a little bit.
Absolutely.
Pete, what's the youngest you do? Is it kindergarten or do you
I have kindergarten. Our school has a pre-K pod right now. And I actually recently spoke with that teacher about on one of my free periods starting in January, if they could come on down and, instrument petting zoo a little bit. I'm a music teacher, Natalie. So just let's get them in there and sing and dance and get some wiggles out and like that. I'm all about play. That's me. So I'm looking forward to it because they're sweethearts. And it takes a lot of courage going into this school with, 500-600 other kids, big kids. And these little pre-K kids are walking around like they own the place. It's great.
Yeah. And Natalie, what I like right away is you're already kind of, and as I think as educators, for the most part, we hopefully consider that no matter what stage in development or what grade a student is, it's all important, right? But I feel like sometimes we don't think about the little ones or have too much of a discussion. So I'm excited about this. We kind of gave you a little bit of homework assignment. Can you tell us a couple of ways just so we can all kind of make sure we understand what this means about incorporating play in the classroom. Can you give us like maybe 2 or 3 ways that you already do this with your students?
So with my students, every day we have what's called free floating centers where children, we have blocks, we have a housekeeping center like a play kitchen, we have coloring where they are encouraged to move around the room, pick something they want to do and play. Nobody's standing over your shoulder saying, that's not how that's done. They get to, interact with their peers in a way where it's just them. It's them, the toys, and their imagination.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
And we do outside recess. We have 40 minutes uninterrupted of, sometimes we'll play soccer, sometimes we'll play on the playground, or we'll have like races up and down the courtyard. But really it's them, the playground, go.
Those are good ones. Those are good ones.
So, hey, talk to me about, from your observation, 6 years in the thick of it, what's the most important types of play? What are you seeing that is the most like beneficial? What are you seeing that's going on in there?
Right now, definitely sensorial play. Most of my children now are COVID babies. And that comes out a lot. They've never, been in a pumpkin patch. They've never looked at the guts of a pumpkin. They've never, made hot cocoa or done slime or oobleck or anything like that, which is fine. But then when you're asking them to do those things, they're a little bit squeaked out about it. They're go, no, yucky, ew. And that's okay. I think oobleck is yucky too because it gets everywhere. But they need those sensorial experiences because then it moves into when you go into language arts and you're asked to describe something that is not just wet, it's sopping wet. Well, what does that look like? What does that feel like? All those things feed into having those sensorial experiences.
That is great. That is great. Pete, what are some of the things that you do to incorporate play in the music classroom?
Well, so like right now, getting ready for Thanksgiving, we made up a song and I talked to the kids about how growing up in the Northeast, we had a big family and there was the kids table and then there was the adults table. And sometimes the kids table was pushed off a little bit to the side and we'd have a little bit of fun, maybe a little bit with the whipped cream can at, the Thanksgiving table, stuff like this. And every once in a while we get a little too loud and then one of the adults would poke their head around the corner of the hall and say, hey, you guys quiet down. And also I based a song about all that. So we have a few of the kids, be Uncle Joe and Aunt Joe and da-da-da. And they're sitting in chairs and they're pretending to take their naps and all. And we do a circle song. And then we do this additive thing where each time we go around, we have a menu, we add a food item. But at the end of it, it's the turkey. And then somebody brings a turkey puppet. So they all bring out their hand puppets and we start gobbling as turkeys. And that wakes up the kids in the middle. And, oh, sorry. And then we start the song again. And we lull the parents to sleep with the singing. And then, we do the whole thing again. But it's an additive song like the 12 Days of Christmas. And each time we add another food item. And they have actions with it. And I'm telling you, even I got 3rd and 4th graders cracking up doing it today because then it relates to everybody. So, oh yeah, I know when my family's getting together, they're watching football, they get sleepy, they take a nap, oh, this and that. They shared a little bit, maybe they shouldn't share some of them, but it's a blast. That's the one thing. It's nonstop play in my room, and we learn along the way. But that's what we're doing this week.
That's great. I mean, I think that it's great to be silly. And sometimes I think in those silly moments, that's when you start, like you said, you start to hear some of the stories and make those connections.
Oh, totally.
Nellie, so how do you think play supports their social and emotional skills?
Well, I mentioned earlier that play is how students see, view, interact with the world. And really with play, the biggest social emotional skill is good sportsmanship. How to lose fairly, how to take turns, how to share a ball, how to win and not be a braggart about it. All those things happen while we're playing. And some of those concepts are more into structured play versus unstructured play, but those things are learning. That's the biggest social emotional thing right now with my students.
That's great. And I'm curious, and Pete, I'll put this to you too. Do you think that kids are good at using their imagination?
Sometimes, a lot of my kids right now, it's whatever's on TV. Like
Yeah.
they'll do red light, green light, but from like Squid Games. And so I've had a few side-eye conversations where it's like, why is your parent letting you watch that? I had a kid come up to me today and said if I knew Chucky the doll had a knife, and I was like, that's great. That's great. But usually they're easily redirected into, we don't play games like that here, or we don't talk about that here, which is nice.
I've noticed also when there's less structure, when there's less boundaries, when there's like, hey, open box. Here's a cardboard box. Let's play with this. Here's these items. Let's make an instrument out of this. Let's make this song. Let's do. There's a little bit of discomfort at first.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, you're pushing me off this diving board way too fast. I'm not ready for this. They like to play, but they also like to know, okay, what's this world? What does this button do? What's this app? What's this character? What's the boundaries? What can I do? What can I do? I'm like, no. Those rules don't live here right now. We're making up our own rules. And there's a little bit of a struggle there at first. So we put on shows in different schools, and that takes a while for the kids. Okay, you're not making up your version of this Disney character, your version. You're not making up exactly what you have in your head of this Disney character. I want you to make up your own version of it. I want your own interpretation of it. I want you to put your own spin on it. And there's a little bit of and I don't have a problem with that. Growing up in the 80s, I was all about the action figures and all, but yeah, after a while, I trashed those action figures. I melted some of them. I exploded some of them. I mixed and matched them. We went outside and all, and I made my own characters. And I've noticed now a lot of kids around, sometimes that's not their thing. I can't do that to Woody or Buzz Lightyear right now. I can't do that to Darth Vader or Captain America right now. I'm like, well, make up your own, So that's something that I've been noticing and I've been trying to work on more and more in the classroom.
That's great. Yeah, I asked because the high schoolers, it's the same response. It's they get real uncomfortable. Most of them, not all of them, but I'd say most of them. And so that takes a little bit of a trusting environment, right? I think for people to know, no, this is in good classroom management. This is when we're going to be playful and silly and this and the other, and this is when we're going to maybe be focusing on this, piece of math or sight words or colors, I guess, Natalie, right? Colors, probably more colors than anything. Okay, well, I love that. So I mentioned academics. How do you think play then ends up helping with those foundational academic skills?
Well, play is the foundation of everything. And from there, like with sensorial experiences, like with, making up characters, we build into language arts. When we're talking about making teams, we're building into numbers, numerical literacy. If we have 8 friends, how many partners do we have? All of that is, it's built on play.
I love that.
And how about, let's go to the next step. What are some of those common misconceptions that we can help with the narrative? People thinking, oh, it's just play. They don't see the value or the importance in it. What are some misconceptions?
I feel that especially for parents and maybe some administrators, we have this negative connotation that play is it's busy work. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect a kid's development. And it absolutely does. Yeah. And in, 20 years from now, when that child is grown up, they will not remember the test score that they had or the sight words that they did. They're going to remember the times that they had fun, and they have fun when they're playing. Totally. And that's the foundation of everything is play. And I think a lot of the misconceptions come from pushing standards down to lower and lower grades. And I think a really good way to combat that is parents take an active role in their child's life. I believe parents are the most important advocate for their children, and really look at what the standards are expected of them in their state, in their county. And if they don't like it, push for something else. Push, 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 because they will listen to you over everybody else.
That's great. I like that advice. You keep mentioning the sensorial activities. Can you give me some examples of those?
So this past October, my children and I, we cut open a pumpkin, and each child got a little scoop of pumpkin guts, and they got to touch it. They got to smell it. Some of them put it in their mouth, which was not on the lesson plan. It was not on the lesson plan. But it was a great experience where, you know, some of them, again, because they're COVID babies, had never been to a pumpkin patch. They've never cut open a pumpkin. And they've never, you know, we did along with our five senses, and they've just, that experience alone, they go, wow, Miss Legs, that's so cool. I know it's cool. We grow those, and they're going to love, in December, we do a big, you know, Polar Express Day. There's hot chocolate. There's all sorts of goodies and things like that, that again, you know, they may not get at home, partially because maybe their family can afford it, partially because that's just not how their family celebrates that holiday, or they don't celebrate that holiday at all, but they get to experience it here. And I mean, it's so cool because their eyes get so big and they go, oh my goodness, I've never done this before. And it's a sight to see. It really is.
What's one of your favorite activities throughout the year? What's the ones like, oh, I love this one. I love this lesson.
So in February, we do what's called marble painted hearts. So I get these little heart doilies from Dollar Tree, or I guess $1.25 Tree now. And I put marbles, and they pick colors, and you go shake, 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 shake. And they pull it out, and it's this beautiful masterpiece that now gets to hang up in our window. That is my favorite lesson. Nice. Because, you know, it combines, you know, play, sensory motor, and also a little bit of a STEAM activity. My school now is in the process of being STEAM certified. So that's what we're all about, is incorporating all that every day in lessons.
Are you on a year-round calendar, or?
So I'm not on a year-round calendar.
Good.
My school, or my students are attached. It's a private pre-K program that's attached to a K through 10 public charter school.
Okay. Right. And then I'm gonna jump in with one more. Since you know, I think you're the first pre-K teacher we've had on, right, Aaron? I think in 117
I'm
episodes.
pretty sure. Yeah.
So if there's something you can let parents know of grade school students now, high school student, middle school, high school students now, college, something from the perspective of the pre-K teacher, the teacher that puts them on that path, that sets them forth, what's something that you would say, hey guys, remember me? Remember we did this? What do you think? You have anything you want to share with them?
My advice is to always let them be little. Let them do the little childish things that they want to do, because, you know, they say babies don't keep, but little kids don't keep either. And all of a sudden, this little itty bitty 6-year-old who wants to go trick or treating is now 16 and doesn't want to talk to you. And so let them be little. Let them indulge in little fun things. Like, I have this kid right now who does fart jokes all the time. He thinks it's hilarious. I think it's gross, but he laughs so hard. And I don't want to take that away from him, because, I mean, they are a little funny. Sure. But, you know, all those things, just let them be little, let them grow at their own pace. Do not force them into any mold or anything that they don't want to be in. Just let them grow.
And nothing beats a belly laugh from a pre-K kiddo. That is the best sound in the world. That is the best sound.
I would agree. That's good advice, Natalie. You know, even my high schoolers, I'd give them stickers, or I'd have like Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse stamps. They would go nuts over that. And I'm like, see, there's still that little kid in there that they love. So I think that's good advice, even for our educators, to kind of remember, try some of this stuff and you'll be surprised how much fun you will have with them, and that they probably will play with you as well.
And we could all take something from this, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So we have parents who listen, so we're trying to, support them. Do you help support parents in how to play at home or give them examples, or what can we do to make sure that we're doing that for our parents and helping them when the kids aren't with us?
So my biggest advice to parents, if they want to include more play in their home, is turn off the TV, turn off the devices, and just go outside and be present with them. That, I think, when they see you there having fun outside, blowing bubbles, running around, being silly, they want to do it too.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to grow play in your own home, is to do it too. And I've spoken to parents who are, busy, they're workaholics, and they go, I don't have time for that. Okay, well, your child sees you not having time for that, and they obviously don't have time for that. And now they can't play with friends because they don't know how.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think even as parents, we need to take time to play too. It's good for us as well, right?
Totally.
It's like kind of all over there. I was thinking, Natalie, just now, the gummy bear, the Haribo gummy bear commercials where the adults are like they've got one right now where it's these two big burly football players, and they use, it's like you said, Natalie, right? We all still have that little kid in us, and it's their little kid voices. They're talking about their gummy bears, or the board meeting at work that are talking, and they have. I think that's just a kind of a good reminder of, like, we've all been kids, and we've all still have that in us.
It's healthy.
So,
It's healthy.
And I hear, Natalie, too, from you with all these examples, like you get to maybe tap into your creativity, because these are creative ideas, but also it sounds like you get to sometimes jump into their imagination world as well.
It's a pleasure to see their imagination grow. It really is.
That is so cute.
And you mentioned the $1.25 store. So it sounds like, do you do a lot of trips on that on your own dime? You're getting a lot of supplies on your own?
So my parents this year have been, and my school culture in general has been very forthcoming with supporting endeavors and things like that. Good. But there are some things where I'm like, I'll take that.
Yeah. The dollar store, or like $25 store, has been an educator's place to go for things for years to come.
I mean, it's a curse and a blessing, though, because it's like I could go in there and rationalize it, and I'm like, I know these kids are gonna love it, but holy cow, I got to pay these bills too. It's
especially when you start buying like 40 of them, you think, well, it's just $1 something, when it starts to add up.
Well, I mean, I have a grade level at a time.
That's a lot. Well, I thought maybe, since we're talking about the importance of play, that we could kind of play. Are you all up for playing a game?
I love that idea.
Okay, good.
No.
All right, so there's no pressure. No,
I didn't know about this.
No perfect answer. Yeah, Pete doesn't even know. Natalie, I do this every now and again, where all of a sudden I get an idea and I don't share it. Share it with this. You guys will be okay. So it's tying our two of our loves between the three of us. Whenever I hear that there's a Disney educator out there, I'm like, ooh, we're gonna play a game. So it's combo Disney and education. So we're good. All right. What's your Hakuna Matata moment in the classroom? In other words, how do you create a worry-free environment for your students to thrive?
So the biggest thing for a worry-free environment is when students receive that, very minimally when they receive, direction from me, I always end it with, would you like a hug? Because sometimes, when you receive criticism or you receive a stern talking to, they get really sad. And I hate seeing kids be really sad. So my worry-free moment is always just ending with, would you like a hug? And most often they say yes.
I love that. For me, the teenagers, they always just need a few minutes. Sometimes that's just to put their earbuds or headsets on for a minute. Sometimes it's they want to talk to someone. And sometimes it's just they just need to go take a lap outside the hall and come back. So I think, it's just letting them know what they can do and keeping them safe. But yeah, letting them know it's okay. Like, you know what I mean? No big deal. This happens to everyone. How about you, Pete?
I like having a lesson in my back pocket that lights them up. if things are getting old, it's like, oh, I don't want to learn about this musical time period. I don't want to learn about this old rusty composer or something like that. You read the audience. If it's a drag, I'm like, okay, hold on. And I'll try to sit down and share with them something relevant. Maybe I'll do a little bit of a story time. They like some of my stories. It cracks them up a little bit sometimes. Some of my goofball things from the past or my experiences. Or like I said, I have that lesson right now, fifth graders. It's the stamping, the stepping and all like they do in some of the universities in different groups. So there are these really complex body percussion stamp rhythms. They are eating that up right now. So it's like, okay, let's bang this out. When we're done, we got this to look forward to. And the laughing that's going on and the movement, and they're energized. They're not just sitting looking at a screen. They're moving, they're dancing, they're giggling with their friends. They're seeing their teacher fall on his face. And that's the other thing, letting them know that I'm not too big to get up and play along with them. And I'm not too big to make a fool of myself and joke around. They know the music room from kindergarten on. They know it's a safe place. They know. So hopefully as they get older, it gets more and more set in them.
I love that. All right, here's another one. If you could have a magic carpet like Aladdin, where would it take you to enhance your teaching practice? So what
Staff
educational?
lounge.
Where is it?
Staff lounge. Already, staff lounge.
Explain more.
Really.
So I have 27 little tiny bodies in my room. I get overwhelmed a lot more than I thought I would. But I'm like, there are moments where like I have to step out of the room and I have to do it right now because if I don't, I'm gonna go insane.
Sure.
Yeah. That's valid. I think we all feel like that. That's a good answer. How about you, Pete?
Like today I had a free period and I basically took my whole desk with me in the media center. I'll go to the art room. I'll go to the STEM room, and I'm still around people and kids and all, but I just have to get out of the music room sometimes. So like Natalie was saying, just a change of scenery. Sometimes you get inspired. Sometimes you just need things to be quiet. I avoid our staff lounge, but definitely I think those type of places where it's just a change of scenery, breath of fresh air, and get out of the music room.
That's great.
How about you?
Okay, you guys are doing great. How are we doing? You feel good about these? I've got like 3 more.
Uh-oh.
I like the answers. Okay. In the spirit of Elsa from Frozen, how do you encourage students to let it go and embrace their true selves? So basically, how do you promote self-confidence and individuality among your students?
Well, with self-confidence, the biggest thing is, we have this big mirror, or actually not the mirror. On the back of my bathroom wall, I have my classroom is Mickey themed, by the way. It's Rainbow Disney. And I have all these little Mickey heads that say things like, you are amazing and you are inspiring and you're a genius and an inventor. And my kids don't know how to read, but just looking at that and thinking, wow, they really are so smart and, encouraging. Or we do mantras where like, I'll say, kiss your brain. You are so smart. And then they'll copy me. You are so smart.
That is
Excellent.
good. That is really, really good. I love that. Teenagers are hard. For me, I find that, even as adults, I think we get surprised when someone compliments us or we don't realize that someone thought highly of us because a lot of times we don't share that. So it's creating moments for people to kind of share good things about someone else. Or if I hear something that's great, then I kind of it embarrasses them for a minute, but I'll celebrate whatever it is for a second. But then all of a sudden that their embarrassment starts to I can see it start to shut off of them because they're starting to feel proud of themselves. So I think for teenagers, it's not getting so enveloped in yourself, but actually like kind of being open to hearing praise or celebrating good things, even the small stuff.
Yep.
How about you, Pete?
We have a saying in the music room. We say you play a note wrong once, it's a mistake. You do it twice, we call it jazz. And by the time the kids are in 5th grade, they go jazz, yeah, and they really start to get an idea. I get what you're saying, Mr. Bush. I get what you're saying. There's no such thing as mistakes as we're doing our best, and one thing might go off a detour and make something beautiful on the other side. So that's something that I like to think that fosters that type of a safe classroom. And hey, let's improvise. Let's blow out and have some fun.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
All right. This next one might be hard and we can kind of expand what it's asking. But basically, inspired by Belle from Beauty and the Beast, what's a book or story that has had a transformative impact either on you or your teaching philosophy?
Oh, come on.
So this is such a good question. When I was in the 4th grade, I read the story called A Year Down Yonder, which is actually a sequel to another story called A Long Way from Chicago.
Mm.
A Year Down Yonder is about this little girl who, during the Great Depression, moves in with her grandmother, and like how she transformed as a person during this whole year and the things she saw, and how she came to no longer see her grandmother as this distant relative, but as somebody that she could be around and wanted to see every day at the end of the day. And when, I first came into education, I came into education later. I'm 26. I came in, when I was 21. Um, I I really did. I struggled with how children perceived me. And to understand that the firmness that I give now will later be understood as wanting what's best for you. And really that story, I read it every time I come across it. That just transformed my worldview.
Wow. I love that, Natalie. That's great. How about you, Pete? Do you need a
Oh,
minute?
I'm
You
trying to look it up. Yeah, come back to me.
Okay, I'll go. So mine's kind of easy, but that's only because I have an English language arts, teaching certification. So when I was a kid, my dad took me to Washington, D.C. We were walking through the park after dinner one night, and they happened to be doing, my dad didn't know it, but they were doing Shakespeare in the Park,
Mm.
and it was Taming of the Shrew. And as I was walking by, it just was so captivating. And so we ended up sitting in the grass and watching the rest of the play. And then I fell in love with Shakespeare and started reading all his plays. And then fast forward to being an English language arts teacher, especially in high school, I would try to incorporate, especially when I would do Shakespeare, not just dryly read it, but that we're actually like performing it. I would bring in, I had all kinds of, Pete, I would have all kinds of costumes. And through the years, I would collect things and even make things up of like, this is a crown, but it was like a Burger King crown for like someone was playing a king, and just, try to incorporate what I fell in love with from Shakespeare in my classroom.
Mm.
Right, Pete, did you find it?
That's excellent. So I'm taking a different route. We have a book of the month at our school. I was trying to look up the list to think of some past ones, and different classes get copies of the books, different teachers, really depending on the level and the subject and whatnot. We also have a vending machine that are loaded up with that books, and the kids get, they earn a chance to go to the vending machine and get that book. And what I do in the music room is either I'll make up a song based on the book, we'll dramatize it, and they'll play a song. We turn in the page, we play the song and all. And they all have really good messages. The artwork's beautiful, some of these picture books. Or I'll have the older kids make up the song, and they'll either perform it for the littles or we'll pass it on to the littles and I'll do it with them in class. But I think that's been the most fun I've had with books lately, is making these come to life, this whole community surrounded by the book of the month and how we share it in different ways with different classes. I've been really enjoying that. I'm just trying to remember one of the names of them, and I can't track it down. I wasn't ready for that one.
That's okay. I know. That's what I said. I was like, oh, this might be a hard one. Okay, last one for playing the game. And I've been love hearing both of your answers, by the way. All right, like Moana, how do you guide your students to discover how far they'll go in their learning journey? So how do you help students see their potential, basically?
So going along with what I was saying earlier, with when we do something together as a class, we have these mantras. And really it gets them into the mindset of, yes, I am smart and I can do things. And yes, I know my numbers and I know my letters and I know all the words that I'm supposed to know. And I can do this. I think, especially post-COVID, my students have really struggled with being confident in themselves and not immediately shutting down and complaining. And so when I started incorporating these mantras, they they were kind of hesitant, but now they really do. I really see a difference in how they carry themselves.
Oh, I love that. How about you, Pete?
Totally about moments to celebrate and opportunities to find each other's voices, to find our voice. Meaning, somebody did something really great. Pause the lesson. Let's applaud on that. Let's clap on that. I'm also keeping an eye out, though. This class really loves bucket drumming. This class really loves ukulele. This class really likes this artist or this. So we're going to go on a detour and I'm going to do stuff all about that. And I could hook everything onto that. I could tie everything else into that, but they're feeling like they have a voice and they're enjoying it. And then I trick them and say, okay, so let's say they're in second grade. I'm like, guys, what we just did was third grade stuff. What? That was third grade? And then they're like, okay, now we're going to do a fourth grade song, or now we're going to do this fourth grade rhythm, or now we're going to do this fifth grade activity. And they're like, well, what happens when we do the end of that? So, well, we'll do sixth grade stuff. I really don't care as long as we keep this up, as long as you keep buying in, as long as you're a part of it. And I do think it builds up the confidence and it, just shows growth along the way.
That's awesome. Yeah, I do that with reading. So I would have 10th graders and I would try like short stories that were AP ones. And same thing at the end, I'm like, you just did something that is an AP. And they're like,
Yep.
what?
It
And
lights
then
them up.
yeah, it totally lights them up. Totally lights them up. Natalie, by the way, Pete has done, how many times have you done, is it Moana Junior? Is that the musical?
We've done Moana. I've done all the shit, but Moana, yeah.
Are you guys going to try to see Moana too?
I am, yes.
Gosh, I hope it's good.
Me too.
I'm hoping.
It looks promising.
I'm a little, Miranda didn't do the music, he didn't do the songs. I'm just like, okay, who did the songs? So we'll give him a chance. I want him to succeed, but yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, Natalie, we always ask our guests, and I'm looking forward to kind of hearing your answer. Is there a teacher, coach, or mentor from your childhood that you want to tell our audience about that influenced you?
So not specifically from my childhood, but from my young adulthood, the woman who got me into education as a whole, my stepmother. I knew her as Amy Arnold first, but her name is Amy Legg, and she has been in education for 30 plus years, and recently has medically retired. And the love and the care and the passion that she has for students and how much she wants students to succeed really put something on my heart to have the same belief. Every child can succeed and all they have to do is try. That's all we ask, is that they try. And so that would definitely be her.
I love that. That's so great.
Good job, Miss Amy.
Yes. Well, if you would like to share our friends out there were talking to you, if you want to teach your teacher story, just like Natalie did, please call our hotline. We've got a number you can call and share your story, 470-227-0877 or 470-227-0TPR. We'd love to hear your stories. Natalie, I can't tell you how wonderful this was. I think Pete's right. I think we've had kindergarten, but not pre-kindergarten. So this was a pleasure. Your kiddos are so lucky to have you. We just enjoy having you on here and hope to continue to stay in touch with you. And thank you again for coming on. And Pete, if people want to continue the conversation, where can they find us?
Our website, teacherpeprally.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you're listening to us. Please subscribe, give us a review. And hey, Natalie, you are the go spot on the Monopoly board. Everything else goes after you. So thank you for all you do with all these little kids out there. You're making such a difference.
Absolutely.
Of course. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking with you guys.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.